morning. Hello. Look at you. Please have a seat. I got these at the drugstore because I'm going blind. I hope I still look like a rock star. Thank you, South by Southwest, very much for allowing me the incredible opportunity of being this year's keynote speaker. Having been raised by a former DC political speechwriter and a former public speaking teacher, it's practically written in my DNA zipper that I should feel the insatiable need to stand in front of a room of total strangers and bullshit them. As a child, my father's lectures were legendary and frequent. Great works of literature that stay with me to this day, and if anything, taught me how to give long fucking lectures myself. Not long ago, I was lucky enough to sit down with another one of my favorite public speakers, the one, the only, Mr. Bruce Springsteen. Bruce, as you would imagine, is a warm, funny, brilliant man and a wonderful dinner guest. I congratulated him on last year's amazing keynote, quoting his insight and his humor. And then I told him that this year's keynote speaker was me. He stared at me for a moment, slowly cracked that famous smile that we all know and love, the smile that can light up an entire stadium. And then he started laughing at me, as if to say, good fucking luck, buddy. But, truth be told, that's not the first time anyone's ever said that to me. So it's without a doubt my musical life's greatest honor to be asked to share with you what I know about music. So, what do I know? The musician comes first. My mother tells me that I was born to applause. The morning of January 14th, 1969, there was a class of young doctors in a small delivery room in Warren, Ohio, there to witness their first live birth. As I was born, the room burst into applause. My first moments in this world. Hanging upside down, covered in blood, screaming as I'm being spanked by a complete stranger. Perhaps the most appropriate preparation for becoming a working musician. Now, before we go any further, I have to thank someone. I have to thank Edgar Winter for allowing K-Tel Records to include his legendary instrumental Frankenstein on their 1975 blockbuster compilation. It was this record that my sister and I bought at the drugstore down the street and brought home to play on the public school turntable that my mother would borrow from school on the weekends. It was this record that changed my life. A veritable who's who of 1975 radio hits. But it wasn't KC and the Sunshine Band's That's the Way, I Like It that made me want to pick up the dusty old guitar in the corner. No. And it wasn't Dave Loggins' Please Come to Boston or Silver Convention's Fly Robin Fly that made me want to jump in a van and leave the world behind for music. No. It was It was a riff. I gave it all up for a fucking riff. Interestingly enough, though, that song is completely instrumental. There's no vocal. It's drums, guitars, keyboards, percussion, each getting a solo in the song. No vocals. But what I heard in all of those solos were voices. The voices of each musician, their personalities, their technique, their feel, the sound of people playing music with other people. It made me want to play music with other people too. So it wasn't long until I had my first guitar, an old Sears Silvertone with the amp built into the case, and it smelled like an old attic full of mothballs and burning wire, and sounded like that goats yelling like humans YouTube clip that's popular right now. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking hilarious. But it instantly became my obsession. It was this guitar and a Beatles songbook that that ultimately set my life in one direction. Never one for taking lessons or direction. I was left to my own devices and devoted every waking hour to playing music. It became my religion. The record store, my church, the rock stars, my saints, and their songs, my hymns. Springfield, Virginia wasn't necessarily known for breeding rock stars. A career in music never really seemed possible to me. It just seemed too good to be true. Surely the faces on my Kiss posters weren't getting paid to do this. Gene Simmons, imagine. But that never mattered to me because I had finally found my voice. And that was all I needed to survive from now on. The reward of playing a song from beginning to end without making a mistake. Well, that was enough to feed me for weeks. The discovery of a new chord or a new scale could make me forget about that kid at high school who wanted to kick my fucking ass, or that cute chick with the lip gloss and the soft sweater I had a crush on who wouldn't give me the time of day. I liked my new voice because no matter how bad it sounded, it was mine. There was nobody there to tell me what was right or what was wrong. So there was no right or wrong. Now, as much as I wanted to be in a band, I was there, alone in my bedroom, day in and day out, with my records and my guitar, playing with myself for hours. I would set up pillows in the formation of a drum set on my bed and play along to records until there was literally sweat dripping down the Rush posters on my walls. Eventually, I figured out how to be a one-man band. I took my guitar, and my crappy old handheld tape recorder. I put one cassette in this tape recorder, and I hit record. I took this cassette, put it in my home stereo. I took another cassette, put this in the handheld recorder, played it back, hit record on this one, and I would play drums. take this cassette, put it back in the home stereo, rewind it, play, and there you have it. At 12 years old, I was multi-tracking songs in my bedroom, all by myself. To my chagrin, though, what I got was not Sgt. Pepper's. Rather, a collection of songs about my dog, my bike, and my dad. Nevertheless, I had done all of this myself, therefore making the reward even sweeter. But still, I longed to share this newfound obsession with other people. Eventually, I found a kid up the street with an old drum set. I found a kid down the street with an old bass. I found a kid across the street with an old basement, and we found a kid across town with an old PA. Several awkward jam sessions later, and we had a band. Obstacle 1 cleared. When asked what our band name was upon submitting our official entry to our high school Battle of the Bands, we applied as Nameless. We just couldn't fucking come up with anything better than that. You laugh, but finding a good band name is still the hardest fucking part. I hope you know that. I mean, Foo Fighters, it's the stupidest fucking name in the world. Let's try. Obstacle 2, diverted. That night, Kenny Loggins' Footloose never sounded so brave. Unfortunately, our enthusiastic rendition wasn't enough to seize the title of Best Band at Thomas Jefferson High School, but we carried on. We tried our damnedest at Bowie and Zepp and Who and Cream and Kinks and Hendrix. We even played the Rolling Stones' Time Is on My Side at a fucking nursing home. And then I went to Chicago. It was 1982, and on my mother's meager public school teacher's salary, our family had planned a trip to the great city of Chicago to visit our relatives who had lived in a suburb up north, right on the lake. We stuffed everything that we could into our tiny baby blue Ford Fiesta and started driving. A week and a half of swimming and Italian beef sandwiches was in order, though, upon arrival, the tone of our trip was instantly defined. My older cousin Tracy was now a punk rocker. At first, I heard her coming down the stairs. The clanking of chains, the stomping of heavy boots, the sound of a fresh leather jacket creaking like an old ship. And then I saw her. Shaved head, bondage pants, torn anti-pasty t-shirt. She was a fucking superhero. Come to life. Something I'd only seen on the TV shows Quincy or Chips. My heart started racing, my eyes widened, my throat clenched. I stood there speechless and in awe.